Hey guys, what is up? It's Food and Philosophy, episode 43. The philosophy is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and the food is your boy Ike Shehadeh from Ike's. Today I've got number 5, the Nacho Boy. What's up, Sal? What's up, Doris? So first, I got the Nacho Boy. Nacho Boy is number 5 on the menu. Man, R.I.P. Nacho Boy. I love you. I've known him since high school. He's no longer of this world. But his sandwich, he was number 5 on the menu. So obviously I must have liked him enough to put him on the menu and to put him at number 5. This is roast beef, mushrooms, avocado, and Swiss. Nacho Boy, I got this one on French. Extra dirty, double toasted. Oh man, they put hella dirty on this. Hella dirty. I said extra dirty. This is hella dirty. Shout out, you guys sliced this roast beef really thin. Great job. You guys know who you are. Downtown Phoenix location made this one. I'm going to write you guys a great review. All right. Before we get into the philosophy, my X talk. So I got the tweet here. My Z, what do you call it when it's on Twitter? Anyway, when it's on X. So this is at J Altman, Altma. Jack Altman. I don't know if he's a bad person or a good person, so don't be like, oh, why are you quoting this guy? I'm talking about his tweet. If he's cancelable or whatever, that's between you and him. Leave me the hell out of this. A nice older guy came by to fix a broken gate at our house. I would have guessed he was maybe 70 or 75. Turned out he was 87 and has been doing this for over 60 years. I asked him how much longer he was going to do it for, and he said, as long as my wife lets me, I think whenever I stop, I'll have maybe one more year to live. He seemed happy and strong. I think this is the goal instead of retirement. Couple things in here. This is the goal instead of retirement. If you find yourself needing and hoping for a retirement day, you're likely not doing what it is that you love. People often ask me, hey, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you sell the company? What are you going to do? All these things, talking about exit strategy or talking about me one day in the future. And I'm like, well, if I ever sold Ike's, which I'm not saying I never will, I can't rule out nevering. Somebody's like, here's $1 billion. My ass is gone. And I'll just open up something else like Ike's Donuts or something, like, but on a full scale. Heck, that might even be full scale by then. I'm going to be wanting to feed people and eat and be creative in the kitchen forever, whether that's at one location, because it's my like retirement quote, waking up. And my dream retirement is waking up, going to a small bodega / market that I own, that I stock personally, and I make sandwiches there and whatever. Say if I'm like old and stuff, and so I only want to work 4 hours a day or 3 hours a day, I'll be like, all right, I'm making sandwiches from 10 to 2 or 10 to 1 or 10 to 5, whatever it's going to be. Come and get a sandwich from me. And I wouldn't care if I could serve 1,000 people a day, because I wouldn't be doing it for the money. I'd be doing it to make food for people and stocking the shelves with the sodas and the chips and other goodies that I would like to sell. And then doing that for the rest of my life, and then hanging out with my friends and family and loved ones after that, whether it's on the beach or somewhere else. And maybe I take some vacations sometimes, but how I take my vacations now is I go somewhere and I'm like, okay, can I put an Ike's here? Because I want to feed people all the time. It's not like I want a day off from that. So it leads me to the next part of this is if you're like, oh, I need a day off and I can't wait for the weekend, it's also an indicator that you're not doing what you want. So if you're hoping for a retirement of some sort, what's up, Emerald? You don't actually like what you're doing. You don't love it. It's not a part of you. You know, people go, "I how do you ever take vacations? Do you ever go and have fun? Do you ever?" And I'm like, if I get to walk around, pass out food, do what I love, feed people, eat, be creative, and on top of all that, get paid to do that and have people tell me how amazing I am, why the hell would I ever, and I mean literally ever, want a day off from that? Exactly, I wouldn't. What's that thing for you? So if you're like, I need a break. That's an indicator that what you're doing is not what you want to be doing and not what inspires you. Now, sometimes we get in a trap where we are doing exactly what we love to do, but something is still burning us out. And that's because those tasks are things that you should be having other people do instead of you. So delegate out those tasks that are a burden to you that you don't like. Get rid of that. And then you'd be like, back to, oh my gosh, my life is amazing. So do you need days off? Change what you're doing. Are you like, oh my God, I can't wait to retire? If you're going to wait till you retire to do what you want to do, that's pretty crappy life. So start doing what you want to do now. And likely you won't ever need to retire. But then there's the other aspect of this where he said, likely in a year after he stops, he's going to die. It's because if we're not moving towards what we want, we are going backwards. We are going to start to deteriorate. We're going to be aimless, loveless, like literally like love from the inside, inspired less. All the lesses, you're going to be less of that. So obviously you're going to deteriorate. You're either moving towards what it is that you want or you're dying. In this case, the person being 87 and saying as soon as his wife makes him retire, he's probably going to die within a year. That's true. We see that so many times. It happens. It's so many times in life. I could bring up dozens, thousands of examples where somebody stops their pursuit of their passion and inspiration based on outside influences, not because of them, and then they wither away and expire really, really rapidly after that. What's up, Eric? So if you find yourself in that predicament, don't let them tell you what to do. Do you literally want to die for somebody else, either internally or actually? No. And use it as an indication if you feel like you need days off. Oh my God, it's Monday. I can't believe it. Use all that. I need to retire as an indicator to change what the hell you're doing with your life now. Why wait till you're 60 or 70 or 80 to be like, okay, now I'm going to do what I want to do? Do it now. And you'll forever hold your peace. That's my X talk. Back to the war of art. Resistance never sleeps. Henry Fonda was still throwing up before each stage performance, even when he was 75. Speaking of being older and still working. In other words, fear doesn't go away. The warrior and the artist live by the same code of necessity, which dictates that the battles must be fought anew every day. So, where do you have fear about the things that you're doing? That fear, unfortunately, is never going to go away. Spoiler alert, though, is you don't need it to go away for you to still do what you want because resistance never sleeps. It's not going to stop just because you stop becoming fearful and just make you fearful of something else. Where in your life have you been afraid, but you acted anyway? Look at your life right now. How many times have you been afraid, didn't know what to do, been confused, but did it anyway? And maybe you didn't do amazingly well, but you just decided to act anyway, put the foot in front of the other and did it anyway. Did you sing karaoke when you hate speaking in public? Well, take little wins like that. Where have you been fearful but acted anyway? Now, in these areas where you were fearful but you acted anyway, what was it about these things that pushed you forward in spite of your fear? What was the motivation to do it anyway, even though you were afraid? What could possibly stop you from doing what you love? What? nothing short of physical force would likely ever cause you to be stopped. Because even if it was emotional force or psychological force, you would still likely do it, just keep it in secret. Like a lot of people with what they believe, and if it's not approved to believe, they still believe it. They just won't tell you that they believe it. The only other things besides actual physical force that could stop anybody from doing what they love, like literally, like here's a gun to your head, don't freaking do it, or do it and you don't want to, are acts of God. Outside of those two things, we're always going to do what we want to do in spite of fear. So look at the areas where you've acted in spite of fear and also use that as a compass towards knowing what it is that's your path of inspiration and love. If you come up with or stop for any other reasons besides actual physical force, like here's a gun to your head or a fist to your face or an act of God, then what you're doing is not what you love to do. No exceptions ever. No. If you come up with excuses, it's not physical force or act of God, then you don't actually love to do it. We don't make excuses to not do what we want to do, what we'd love to do. We get forced to not do it. Resistance pays for keeps. Resistance's goal is not to wound or disable. Resistance aims to kill. Its target is the epicenter of our being, our genius, our soul, the unique and priceless gift we are put on earth to give and that no one else has but us. Resistance means business. When we fight it, we are in a war to the death with resistance. Resistance, although it's not physical force, we internally physically force ourselves to stop doing it. Look at which emotions or thoughts or experiences does the resistance produce inside of you? What are the negative things that come up to you? Think about something that you want that you don't have, that you've tried to get over and over. What's the feeling that is bringing up in you now thinking about that? That's all resistance. Put that there because it wants that. What do you have that you don't want and you've attempted to not have? What are your negative feelings there or your feelings there? The resistance put that there too. What is resistance attempting to generate from you? Knowing this answer will help you move through things more easily because you know, oh, this feeling's coming up. It must be resistance. Let me just stop resisting. Let me laugh instead. Let me watch something funny instead. Let me do something that I love instead of feeling these feelings of resistance. Like I'm feeling it right now in my body, and I'm like, oh my gosh, geez, this feels terrible. So I'm going to take a bite of a sandwich and drink this. And they poke. I'm still proud of them for this roast beef slicing. Resistance helps us know where to move our wants and our needs to. Look at where we're being resisted, where resistance is showing up. That's where your wants and needs should be pointed towards, in that direction. Like with monsters in any video game, resistance wouldn't show up if it weren't the path. Like, think about it. You ever played a video game? I was playing Silent Hill 2. And it just started. This is bull crap. This was and anyways, I started walking in a direction, and I'm walking for like 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes, like 22 minutes. I'm like, what? When is something going to happen? And I wasn't. It took me 22 minutes before I'm like, oh, I'm probably walking the wrong way if there's nothing here. So I turn the character around, walk another freaking 20 minutes when I probably should have just restarted the game. So 40 something minutes later from when I started playing, the first thing comes up and I'm like, oh, well, this must be the way to go. That's like that in real life too. Maybe that's why I did that when I was back in the Mission Plaza Market days, where I was playing Silent Hill and I walked the wrong way for like 40 something minutes, 20 minutes, and 20 minutes. So that I'll never forget the lesson that if there's nothing there, it's not the way to go. And it wasn't just a metaphor, it's in real life too. If you're walking in a video game and there's no creatures there to do or no problems to solve, then you're not going the right way. However, if you let resistance win, then can you truly say that you really wanted these things anyway? So say you're going there and resistance shows up and you're like, fine, and you let it win, then you really actually don't want it. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Wouldn't you be placing other things in the hierarchy and more important above what you think is actually important if you say stopped because of whatever resistance shows up, whether it's other people or other problems or things? Which are the things that come up for you so very often, resistance wise? What things come up? People ridicule you, and you're like, oh man, I can't deal with that. People tell you can't do it. Other things come up, governmental regulations, your health. What are the things that come up for you so very often that you do not think you'll be able to beat or beat? Like, look at your life. Things keep happening to you regarding what it is that you think that you want and what it is that you actually want. What things keep coming up so very often that you're already like resigned to defeat? What are those things? What do you think that you're never going to be able to get that you actually think that you want? What do you think that you cannot beat resistance about? Be cognizant of these things. Look at these things. Maybe you don't actually want them, and that's why you can't beat it. Or maybe you're placing something else higher, more important than the thing that you want, and you're actually getting what you want right now. Resistance is fueled by fear. Resistance has no strength of its own. Every ounce of juice it possesses comes from us. We feed it with power by our fear of it. Master that fear, and we conquer resistance. Like with the pendulum, when it keeps losing, eventually it will give up. The best way to beat it is to laugh, to move, be inspired. It cannot live where you are these things. It cannot live. Resistance can't live in an environment where you're always inspired and full of love and gratitude. It can't. It'll go somewhere else. In which ways does resistance elicit fear from within you? In fact, somebody sent me a post about a company that I'm invested in, that I've helped, and they're literally copying one of my ideas, like literally copying one of my ideas. And it bothered me for a little bit, for more than a little bit, like of an hour, probably, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. And it brought up a whole bunch of feeling bullied, even though they didn't do anything. They just posted it on social media. So, but that's a way for resistance to get this feeling from within me to come with their straw and be like, oh, yes, Ike has that. Oh, I'll show you. Bleep out the F word, please, because I heard YouTube doesn't like that now. I'll bleep and show you. I had probably produced some really good flavor of that for the resistance and for the egregores and the pendulums, all that to oh, Ike's got it right now. So it got shown to me, and I'm like, ooh, I was like that. Now actually just thinking about it is bringing me back. So I gotta bring that feeling out so they don't come back and try to devour this from me. Because in which ways does resistance elicit these feelings from you that are useful to it? List the ways that you feed resistance. So here back then, when I first read this book, I wrote, doubt myself, I self-judge. failing to trust myself, over analyzing and overindulging. Now, I'm proud to say that if I had a pen, I'd cross out doubting myself. I rarely doubt myself now. I might not think I'm going to get everything that I want, but I'm not like, oh, I can't be president of the United States or I can't go and create a $1 billion company. I don't think those things. Self judging myself, well, to an extent, I still do. Obviously, if I have something I don't want or want something that I don't have, uh, then there's going to be like, oh, well, let me get better at it, but not in a negative way and more of a, well, let me get better kind of thing. What's up, Max? So I'm proud to say that these things that I have from 10 years ago probably are different now. But what are the things, the ways that you feed resistance from yourself? Me, like now it'd be not feeling appreciated or yeah, actually really feeling not feeling appreciated or being used to advance someone else, but me also not advancing too. What are the things that absolutely, utterly terrify you? What are those things? Resistance is fueled by fear. So, which things inspire you? Which things make you laugh? Which things keep you smiling? Which things give you joy? Which things are fun for you? Hang out in these areas as often as possible to win out over resistance. Like I said, resistance can't live where you're feeling gratitude or where you're laughing or where you're inspired. So be there as often as you possibly can. If you feel bad, just think about something that makes you laugh. Think about something that brings you joy. Think about things that you are fun. Like literally just go, oh yeah, that one time I was hanging out on the beach and then I jumped in the water in Hawaii and the water was perfect. And then I got dunked my body in there. I came out and then this breeze came and blew through my not hair, through my head. And then I was so relaxed and it felt great. And then I smelled this luau that was happening a little bit down the ways. And then I like, how can resistance live there? Whatever that version is of for you. You can make it up too. Just remember a time that you had all those things. Now, we make our fear more important than our work. Oh my gosh, I feel bad. So you now move towards what it is that you want. So what is so important about not getting what you want that you want to stay with not having it? Look at what you want but don't have or have that don't want. What's so important to you about not getting it or not getting rid of it that you want to stay instead of going to this new space where you have what you would like? Because we only resist what we have. We can never resist the things that we want. If we don't have it, that means you don't resist it. You're resisting not having it. If you have something and you don't want it, you're resisting to having it, which is why you don't not have it. It's best to ask yourself here why. If you ask yourself why, then you can start working with that. Do one more. Resistance only opposes in one direction. Resistance obstructs movement only from a lower sphere to a higher sphere. It kicks in when we seek to pursue a calling in the arts, launch an innovative enterprise, or evolve to a higher station morally, ethically, or spiritually. So if you're in Calcutta working with Mother Teresa Foundation and you're thinking of bolting to launch a career as a telemarketer, relax. Resistance will give you a free pass. Resistance it only opposes you in one direction, and that's the way towards you having what you want. If all of a sudden it seems easy, it's because it's not the way for you to go. The easier it is for you to move towards something or make a decision is an indicator that it's not the way towards your telos, towards your reasonings to be here. If it's easy, it's not the way. It's like playing a video game and walking the wrong direction in Silent Hill for 20 minutes. If it's easy, if there's nothing to do, it's not the way. Now, this isn't to suggest that success is hard. It is just the application process to move towards what you want. Is the encountering of resistance to show you that this is what you want, and for you to show us, the universe, the world, that it's what you want. Trust. Once you're well on your way to getting what you want, you pass through resistance, worry no more because you're going to already love it enough and have enough momentum that it's going to carry you through anything else, even though it might be not easy. Don't equate not being easy to being hard. No, if it's easy, like for me to pick up my phone right now and waste 2 hours going through any like Instagram or Facebook or I don't even use Facebook, Instagram, X, something else, ESPN, then it's not the way towards my goals. And the thing is, you'll already have enough momentum. So don't worry about if it's not, quote, easy, because you're going to need your momentum because resistance is the most powerful at the finish line, which is where we'll go to next time. But so resistance only opposes in one direction. This is the price of the admission to what you want. Most do not want to pay it, and that's why they do not get what they want. And I'm talking about like 97% of people don't get what they want because it gets uneasy and they're like, nope, I'm out. Is that you? Is it easy for you to get through something? If the answer is yes, then this is unlikely the way you should be going. Is there challenges? Do you get bumped up against something? That's probably the way to go. When you move towards what you would like, many enemies will come out of the woodwork to obstruct you. This is an indication that you are moving the right way. If you weren't, no one would get in your way. No one would get in your way. Since the dawn of human communication and independent thought, whenever one of the people in the group, the tribe, wanted to do or be or have their own ideas or their own dreams or have their own journey, the group will clamor for them to stop through guilt, through shame, through violence. Either they do it covertly or overtly through all these ways. Either they do it passively, or actively. Passively through guilt or shame, actively through physical force or cussing you out. This is how you know the way, because only approved messages of the group get a free pass in this life. And it still works today. Just go to social media and say something that somebody doesn't like. That's not an approved message. You're going to get your butt canceled or worse. I'll catch you next time. If you get what you want, hell yeah. And if you don't get what you want, even better. Your well being is your greatest contribution to humanity. No exceptions ever. Here's some of my contribution. Love you guys.